Alrighty, welcome back everyone. So we just had a day of download yesterday, and obviously Peppy Gal fans, you guys are eating so good. You see some of the stuff we got on screen right now. We got two new Peppy Gal characters, we got two EZAs for some old OG Peppy Gal characters, and also with the day of download, we do have the inclusion of the EZA for LR Tech Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, whose EZA is actually live right now as I'm recording this. But obviously, with their information in the day of download, now we can see their kits, we can see when they will drop. So today, we're gonna go ahead and go through the day of download, talking about, of course, these new characters and their kits, how to build them and everything. But also, there is some new content we have going on. We have some content already out in the game right now, but also some other things to look forward to soon. So we're gonna go ahead and go through all this. Hopefully you guys will enjoy the vid today. If you do, show your support, drop a like down below, subscribe to the channel, comment down below your thoughts. But with that all being said, let's go ahead and get started. Now, I will say, before we look at what the overall day of download has to offer, I'm not going to cover Super Saiyan 2 Gohan at all. I already made a vid going through his EZA and everything, so if you want to see that, of course, check out that vid. I talk about how to build him there, but I'm just saying that for right now. Even though his day of download is here and, you know, he's already out in the game and everything, I already made a separate vid talking about him. But anyways, so starting off with what the overall day of download has to offer. So shout out to Proton, of course, you know, as always, I gotta say this because he's just obviously a GOAT when it comes to this stuff. It's just without a shadow of a doubt. But with the day of download, so this is the global side, but just the same thing as the JP side, we have the two new characters. So we have Ranfan or Ronfan, I forget how you say it, but you have her and then you have Videl. Also, we have two new stages for the heroine battle coming soon. So they're not out right yet, but obviously this is like the Peppy Gal sequence of stages that I believe was introduced with STR Roshi last year at the end of July. So we have two more stages for that. We don't know exactly what's going to be. My assumption is it's probably going to be either some form of Videl or Ranfan. Maybe it's probably going to be these two. It'd be funny if we got Fasha. I think we already have a Fasha like stage. I forget now, but it's probably going to be these two new characters. But we got two stages there. We also have the two stages, probably the final two stages of the Blue Zone, the Supreme Magnificent Battle for the Next Gen Saiyans. That's actually out right now. I'm sure a lot of people have already been trying to beat it, myself included. So we will go through the stages in just a moment. We have the EZA battle, of course, and we also have an EZA battle to look forward to for the 5th edition of the Peppy Gal characters, which most likely is going to be giving us the medals for these two right here with Fasha and Chilai. So should be expected very soon, but it's going to be a fun time for sure. We have tickets, of course, wallpapers, unique titles. So pretty much some straightforward stuff. There is also some information on how the final stage works for Gohan, Goten, and Trunks. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be fine. Anyways, so first of all, let's just go ahead and look at the new characters. We'll talk about how to build them, of course, how they work. We'll see how their kits kind of operate, and then we'll kind of move forward from there with the content and everything. So let's start off with AGL Videl. Obviously, this is, from what I'm assuming, this pose is exactly from when she basically like recovers from the World Tournament, but she is not a Dokkan Fest character, so I want to make that very abundantly clear. Neither her nor Ranfan, who's right here, I believe, neither of them are Dokkan Fest characters. As you can tell by their lead, especially, their lead is not up to snuff with the current Dokkan Fest characters, so they're basically just banner units. But with Videl, right? So she's a 120% stat lead for Super AGL type and Peppy Gal category characters. So, you know, kind of an okay lead. I really wouldn't run this, like even on the current Peppy Gal's team. This would not be my leader. She would be nice as an addition, but not as the leader. With the super attack effect, melee super massively raises defense for 3 turns, causes supreme damage to the enemy. Obviously, massively raising defense is a 100% multiplier, so that type of defensive buff for multiple turns is really helpful, especially for a character who is already AGL typing, where remember, at 55%, AGL type characters will get 5 additional to their hidden potential system for free. You don't even need a dupe on them. So you already have the possibility of an additional with the hidden potential system, and on top of that, plus this super right here, that could be a lot of defensive boosting already, not even mentioning what we will see in the passive right here. So with the passive itself, right? So 200% to stats, key plus 2, just basic effect. The key plus 2, I will say, not that important for a T-War as opposed to an LR, but still we'll take it for what it is. The stats are fine though. 30% damage reduction flat out, randomly changes key spheres of a certain type other than AGL orbs to rainbow key spheres, and she is giving key plus 3 and attack and defense plus 70% for allies whose names include Teen Gohan, Ultimate Gohan excluding Majin Buu, or Great Saiyaman, but it has to be Great Saiyaman other than Gohan excluded. So just to kind of clarify that, just for those who may not understand, basically this support only will work for characters whose names include the adolescent Gohan, teen Gohan, right, from like high school Majin Buu saga, not like teen Gohan is in Cell saga, but we're talking about teen Gohan as like, you know, Majin Buu saga Gohan. So it has to include that Gohan, Ultimate Gohan, no Buuhans, no Majin Buu absorbing Gohan stuff, none of that's okay. And for Great Saiyaman, it has to be Gohan Great Saiyaman. Basically, it can't be Great Saiyaman 2. So it can't be another Videl. It has to be Gohan Great Saiyaman. So pretty straightforward. I mean, it does kind of make sense. Videl and Gohan, even back then, they were like, you know, connected like that. So, I mean, it makes sense. The support, I will say though, is really nice. 70% to stats just for existing and those allies. Obviously, the new LR Gohan, Goten, and Trunks fits this. I don't know if it works for the Goten and Trunks side of the character, but at least for the Gohan side, that is really nice support at minimum. So that's really good there. When attacking with 12 more ki, 200% to stats. When there is another Peppy Gal's category ally in the same turn, or when there's an ally whose name includes either of those things in the same turn as well. When either of those conditions are met, 50% to damage reduction before attacking, and 300% to attack when attacking. So obviously heavily boosting the attack once she does a super or does her attacks. And the damage reduction before attacking is kind of nice, but at the same time, this is basically just like Tech Pan all over again. If you guys remember, Dokkan Fest Tech Pan from 2022, actually like 3 years ago, she had a similar kind of thing, if I remember correctly, where she had damage reduction before she attacked, which meant she was nice in Slot 1 sort of, but once she did her attacking, every attack after that was just, there was no damage reduction, there was no safety for her. And the same thing kind of, it can be said here, where you get this nice damage reduction right here, but once, you know, she's attacking, which, you know, Slot 2, she's going to be attacking beforehand anyways. Slot 3, same thing. Slot 1 is the only spot where you can take advantage of this. But once that's done, there's still a lot of bosses who do crazy supers after you do your attack. They do a bunch of AoE attacks, all these things. They can do some damage. So this kind of is concerning to me. I know she's massively raising defense, but still, I've never really liked the fact that you lose this once you do your attacks. That seems kind of counterproductive, right? It's almost like you don't want them to attack, so you can at least keep the damage reduction, if that makes sense. But either way, you know, it's still okay. Obviously pretty easy to meet that because you need another Peppy Gal character or just Gohan, so it's gonna be straightforward. For every turn passing, she's reducing her damage reduction by 10% down to 30%. So basically after 3 turns, then she will basically get 30% damage reduction lost, which is going to negate the 30% you see right here. So in theory, technically speaking, as far as this part of her passive is concerned alone, she has no damage reduction after she does her attack. So that can be kind of annoying right there. For 3 turns from the character's entry, defense plus 200%, high chance to perform a crit, so that's a 50% chance, and launches additional to the high chance to become a super, so a 50% chance to become a super, but it is an additional attack. So, you know, solid stuff there. When the character is KO'd starting from the 4th turn from the character's entry, revives with HP fully recovered. So this is the same kind of thing as Int Boo, right, from the Golden Week celebration last year, who a lot of people are still in love with that character, but same thing with him, where this revive exists only when this specific character is knocked out. Now the difference between Boo and Videl is, with Boo, that revive was available right away. But for Videl, you have to wait till the 4th turn from the character's entry. So that can be either turn 4 up to at most turn 6, and then the revive will be available every time Videl shows up, and she has to be the one to get knocked out. So in theory, that could be a good incentivized kind of thing to put her in slot 1, where she gets the damage reduction, but once she attacks, she's cooked. So, you know, there may be some benefit to that in that sense, but with the revive in mind. After the character's revival is activated, it has to be the character's revival, so not just any revival. 200% to stats, 30% to damage reduction, guaranteed crits, and guaranteed additional super attack on top of what she has in her kit. So, you know, she's got some good potential, I will say that. Getting the damage reduction back is kind of funny, but, you know, we'll take it. 30% up to 80% before attacking. That's still better than nothing. But no guard, no dodge. It is kind of annoying, I guess, looking at her kit to realize that she's really just mostly fixated on her defensive stats. That's really what she's focused on. And to be fair, the good thing is that you don't need any other ally to really maximize her defense, right? Because her defense is shown right here with the basic effect, right here with 12 or more ki, right here from the first 3 turns and everything, and right after a revive. The only time where she gets some notable defensive value is right here, this 50% damage reduction before attacking, and that requires another Peppy Gal ally or Gohan. That's the only kind of really important defensive mechanic that is locked by some sort of niche condition that can't be controlled with her alone. So I will say she is kind of nice in terms of being independent, which is something I do appreciate, you know, a character not being really limited to teams or anything, but still, like, I'm not too high on this character. I will like to see how she performs, because I did see Halvard's calculations partially. I think for her, I think it was like 5 point something mil on the defense maximum. That's not bad, but still, you know, for a character where there's no guard and there's very little damage reduction, I feel like I want to see more, if that makes sense. But still, like, there's some nice things to offer in this kit for sure. Okay, categories. So only on 9 categories, but still some good ones already off bat. You know, we got Peppy Gal's the new or not the new category, but the obvious category for Videl. But you got World Tournament, you got Majin Buu Saga, you got Defender of Justice, which is covered by the new LR Gohan, Goten, and Trunks. You have Earthlings, Bonded Parent and Child, Powerful Comeback Tournament Participants, and Earthbred Fighters. So a few very powerful ones. I would definitely say Bonded Parent and Child is very strong right now. Defender of Justice for sure with the new Gohan. Without the new Gohan, it probably is not it. But with the new Gohan, Goten, and Trunks, you could definitely make this work pretty decently, I would say. Earthbred Fighters, yeah, I mean, it's kind of obvious. Majin Buu Saga, kind of obvious. Tournament Participants, kind of obvious too. Like, it's just so straightforward and so good. And the nice thing about Videl is there are a lot of free-to-play farmable options for her in terms of the super attack. So if you do pull her, you don't have to waste a single Elder Kai or any sort of Kai to raise her super attack level. You just go ahead and farm those free-to-play characters. So, pretty good stuff. How would I build Videl? You know, we'll like talk about the hidden potential builds. For Videl, who already is an AGL type character, I would honestly, I'm not even gonna lie, I'm going all in on dodge. Like, no joke. I am not even putting an ounce of it. Actually, no, I wouldn't even put additional. I wouldn't put additional, and I wouldn't put crit, and I'll tell you why. For the additional, right, she already has 5 additional just being an AGL type character, right? So I already got my additional through that with the hidden potential system. Assuming you get dupes and everything, you don't really want, I feel like you could put additional, sure, but you really don't need to, right? That's not as important, I feel like. You could put crit as well, but here's the thing. She gets guaranteed crits anyways once her revival is activated, and essentially, she's the revival that you have to get activated because she's like, all these things are locked by her getting her revival, not even anyone else's but her own. So once you get her revival, she gets guaranteed crits anyways. So there really is no incentivization to do crit in her hidden potential build. Really, I would say just do all dodge all the time. You'll get the 5 additional from the hidden potential system. If you want skill orbs to give additional, that's fine. Do not give an ounce of crit anywhere, and really prioritize the dodge because she's got defense to offer, sure, but ideally speaking, you would like to have dodge, especially when there's like a super or something just coming her way. You can at least have a chance to avoid that. So I think that's how I'll kind of recommend everything overall. But yeah, a very interesting character for sure. Okay, let's look at her partner in arms, or whatever the right analogy is. But we got Ranfan or Ranfan. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys know how to say her name. I really forgot how to say her name. But anyways, with her, she is also just like Videl, 120% stat lead for Super Tech type and Peppy Gal category characters. Melee type super, raises attack and defense for 1 turn, cause supreme damage to the enemy, and raise allies' attack and defense by 30% for 2 turns. I actually already like this a bit more than Videl's because I do love characters who give support, and this is actually a good amount of support for 2 turns. So really helpful there. With the basic effect, 200% to attack and defense, 40% chance to dodge off bat. All allies gain Ki +1 and defense plus 40%, plus an additional Ki +1 and defense plus 30% for characters who belong in Peppy Gals, which is pretty nice right there. When attacking, 200% to attack and defense, 50% to attack and defense up to 200%, and chance of evading an enemy's attack and damage reduction rate increased by 10% up to 40% per Peppy Gals character category ally on the team. So essentially, she's getting this buff right here. This, you can get up to 4 times the buff of this, you know, stat buff and the dodging and everything per Peppy Gal's ally on the team, which should include herself. So alongside her, you want 3 other Peppy Gal category characters, and this whole part of her passive should be unlocked for you in its entirety. After receiving or evading an attack, all allies will boost their attack by 20% other than Peppy Gal's category allies. And then right here, Peppy Gal category allies will gain 20% to their attack, but that's for 2 turns. So I do like the discrepancy there. So basically, Peppy Gal allies, they gain the same stat buff, but it's for multiple turns as opposed to all allies in just the 1 turn. So really nice what I'm seeing from her with this right here. I actually, you could probably tell from my inflections and my voice, I'm really liking this kit more than Videl's in terms of what it has to offer. When facing only 1 enemy, attacked enemies' attack and defense decreases by 30% for 2 turns, great chance, which is a 70% chance to stun the attacked enemy for 2 turns, and a 70% chance to seal the attacked enemy's super for 2 turns. When the enemy is in any of the debuff statuses, you know, attack down, defense down, stun, or seal, launch an additional guaranteed super, where remember, the super will give more support. So this is a very interesting kit. I actually am really liking this for the categories. Peppy Gals, World Tournament, Dragon Ball Saga, Earthlings, Earthbred Fighters, Tournament Participants. Actually, I'm not gonna lie, I really do want this character because she fits onto some categories that I do still need some assistance with, like Earthlings. I'm getting cooked on any of the Earthling missions we got from a few months ago. I'm still getting cooked. So she will be a welcome addition for sure. But yeah, I mean, this character looks really special. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think we have we don't have a free-to-play farmable version. We just have the summonable one. But still, I mean, she seems so fun, like really fun to use. Obviously, she is kind of being gate-kept to working with a Peppy Gal heavy team, not a solely Peppy Gal team, but like a heavy Peppy Gal design team. But I think despite that, like she works really well in the team that she is meant to exist with. And yeah, I mean, I'm really liking what I'm seeing from her. I will say, in terms of what I would do for the build, right? So Hidden Potential build, she is a tech type character, so she gets 5 crit with the Hidden Potential system, just free to play. So that's all the crit that I'm giving this character. I would probably say, it's kind of tricky to say because she already has a good amount of dodge in her kit, right? Technically speaking, she would get 80% dodge between her overall kit and then 40% damage reduction. I would say go for a 2-to-1 ratio of dodge to additional. The reason why is because more dodge will not hurt, and this character is kind of a character where she is essentially dodge or die. Now, she does have the damage reduction if you get guard because of type advantage. She could handle herself well, especially like slot 2 or slot 3 especially. However, I still would probably favor dodge overall, and then the additional, yeah, I mean, you want to get some additional because with her overall kit, you know, she's getting her original super, plus right down here, she's going to be launching up, she can potentially launch an additional super right here, so that's 2, plus the hidden potential system. 3 supers in a turn can lead to a lot of support for 2 turns right there for all allies. So that could be really, really powerful for other characters like AGL Videl, like Fasha and Chile, who we still have to go over, you know, characters like them. So I think this character is going to be really nice. I think she's the hidden gem between her and Videl. That's just my take. But yeah, I think that's probably how you want to build her. Prioritize dodge, give her a bit of additional, and just keep it pushing. All right, let's keep going. So now we have Fasha. So Fasha, for those who remember, Fasha and Chile, I think both came out the same time. Yeah, both were in 2022. And both were very popular characters from a lot of people I noticed. But let's see what they can do now with their easy A's. So with Fasha, 150% stats to Peppy Gals or low-class warriors. So already she's a better lead for the Peppy Gal category than the 2 new characters. So she's a better lead. Still not the best lead, but you know, nice to see that right there. Super attack effect greatly raises attack and defense for 1 turn, cost supreme damage, high chance to stun, which is a 50% chance to stun right there. So straightforward, nice. Not every boss can suffer with stunning, but when you can do it, that's going to be pretty nice for sure, especially like in the extreme super battle road and stuff like that, or some gimmicky fights. I'll take it. 200% to attack and defense, 50% damage reduction flat out, nice. Launcher additional has a great chance to become a super, 70% chance right there. For the first 5 turns from entry, guards all attacks guaranteed. Starting from the 6th turn from entry, launches an additional guaranteed super and has a 70% chance to perform a crit. For every attack received, 40% buff to stats up to 200%, so 5 attacks to get that done for the rest of the fight. And when there's another 2 or more low-class warrior category allies on the team, or when 2 or more Peppy Gal allies on the team besides her, attack and defense plus 40% whenever guard is activated up to 200%. So kind of keeping in line with how she was kind of originally designed. This is a pretty basic kit in the grand scheme of things, but still, I think there is a lot of value behind what is existing. Because think about this, right? Most likely, just like with Ranfan or Ranfan and Vidal and stuff, you're probably going to run them on Peppy Gal teams, right? All together. Fasha is going to have this met. So once she has this met, you know, for the first 5 turns, she's guarding. Wherever she is, she will have this guard. So the first 5 attacks she's receiving, which also simultaneously will be the first 5 attacks when guard is activated, if I'm not mistaken, she'll basically just be getting a crazy amount of stats. And when all this is said and done, she's getting 200% right here, plus 200% right here, plus 200%. That should be somewhere in the ballpark of 600% to her stats in total, which on top of that, you're also going to be talking about, you know, starting from turn 6, you know, from the character's entry, additional super right here, plus the additional that has a great chance to become a super. So that's 3 supers, plus the hidden potential, 4 supers where they all have a chance to stun, of course, but also greatly raising attack and defense. She can do some good work. I'm really liking this character, and 50% damage reduction is really solid. Now, it's unfortunate she loses the guard, but still, this is not too shabby for a character who can do a bunch of supers, who should have a crazy amount of stats, and who should be able to ideally just exist in slot 3. like slot 2 or slot 3 at minimum. So I really do like what I'm seeing from this character just off that. With the categories, Low Class Warrior, Peppy Gals, both are part of the lead, so that makes sense. Pure Saiyans, Team Bardock, actually I'm really liking. I didn't forget that she's on Team Bardock, but I forget that Team Bardock is a team that exists and does love to have some like assistance, right? But yeah, that's a great addition or a great buff for that team as well. Space Traveling Warriors, Storied Figures, and Mission Execution, the new category from Mercenary Tao, so obviously she fits into that team right there. But yeah, I mean, I like what I'm seeing from Fasha right here. In terms of how I'd build Fasha, I'm going to sound like a broken record here. I would still prioritize the dodge. Prioritize the dodge, give a bit of additional. Do the same thing I would say as Ranfan, where you do like 6 dodge for every 3 additional, like 2 for 1 ratio, because damage reduction is great and all, but still dodge is a bit of a safety net, so it's very helpful there. The additional is nice. Crit you really don't need because she already has a high chance to do crit, right? 70% chance to do a crit starting from the 6th turn. So before that, if you want to crit, I could see it, but you really don't need it. And because she's physical type, already built in additional with the 55%. So I would say prioritize dodge, do a bit of additional, and just like Ranfan, keep it pushing, because yeah, this is a simple but I think very effective kit. I'm very excited to use this character once again once her EZA drops very soon. Alright, let's look at her counterpart, Chi-Lai. If I remember correctly, people were in love with Chi-Lai. Like, I wouldn't call it gooning, but like, people were just like, just big fans of this character and the unit and everything. People were really liking this character. But okay, so Chi-Lai, 150% stat lead, key +3 to Bond of Friendship, so different from the other characters, no Peppy Gals, but Bond of Friendship is a nice category to cover. Super attack effect, which is a sword kind of attack, so it's like a weapon kind of attack, right? Massive raise defense for 1 turn, cause supreme damage, guaranteed seals the super, and a high chance to stun, 50% chance to stun right there, but guaranteed seal. Again, similar to Fasha, not always will you be able to take advantage of both of these things, but when you can, that is really clutch, and the defensive boosting especially, really helpful, really helpful for sure. Already like what I'm saying. Alright, passive skill. Key +3, okay? Defense plus 339%, just flat out, no offense right there, but who needs offense when you got defense like that? Guaranteed, built-in scouter, just for existing. She could be slot 1, slot 2, slot 3, she could be on any team that you could possibly imagine, she could be run as an off lead, and she would still give you the scouter. Randomly changes key spheres of a certain type to rainbow key spheres, nice. Great chance to dodge, which is a 70% chance to dodge already. All allies, key +3, attack and defense plus 39%, and boosting crit chance by 20% other than herself. So she, just like with the scouter and everything, just by existing, she's giving all allies this support right here and crit chance buff, which is really helpful, especially when you're running with her with like other Peppy Gal characters where I just said for these other characters don't even give them crit. Well, guess what? Now you don't even have to think about it even more because she's giving them crit chance on top of that. So really nice stuff right there. For every attack that's evaded, she's boosting her defense by 139% within the turn. So kind of like MUI Goku, but kind of like the reverse, where MUI, with every attack he was dodging, he was boosting his dodge chance. With Chi-Lai, every attack she's dodging is boosting her defensive power. So kind of an interesting kind of a difference there, but still, you know, not that bad at all. Every time the character evades 3 attacks in battle, recovers 39% HP at the end of the turn up to 3 times. So basically, like, unless I'm mistaken, this can basically work up to 3 times within the turn itself. So every time she like, you could basically recover like full HP from like dodging 9 attacks, unless I'm mistaken in terms of how I'm reading that, but that should be how it works, which if I'm mistaken, my bad, let me know in the comments, but this is a pretty nice heal nonetheless. Even if this is like a one-time only thing, up to 3 times in total, still 39% HP recovery just for dodging 3 attacks, which she has 70% chance to dodge. This is really helpful, very helpful. After evading 6 or more attacks in battle, for one time only, all allies will gain 39% to their stats for 3 turns other than herself, so nice bit of support. Unfortunate it's only one time only, but we'll still take it. When receiving a normal specifically, 139% to defense temporarily. When receiving a super, boosting dodge chance by 10% temporarily, so 80% chance to dodge right there. Yeah, just like, wow, it's kind of crazy for me to say, but I know I'm gonna sound like I'm hating or that I just don't know ball. I really feel like I like Chi-Lai, Fasha, and Ranfan more than Videl. And Videl has crazy amount of defense to offer, don't forget, and she obviously has a great amount of support to offer for Gohans and everything, like the new LR Gohan, who's just a top level character. but I just don't know if I like her kit as much as Ronfon's, as Fasha's, as Chilai's. I just like them all so much more. Chilai gives a scouter, you know, this is really good. I really do like what it is. And I mean, I didn't remember having Chilai when she first dropped, but I did pull her way later. But looking back now, I can see why people were a fan of this character, because if this was just a refined version of what she had to offer pre-Easy 8, let me go before Easy 8, right? Beforehand, she still had the guaranteed scouter, she still had the orb changing, all the support. So like she still had pretty much all the stuff from her basic effect right here. The only difference is a bit of a change to the support and even more defense. So yeah, she's amazing. I really do like what I'm seeing from her. To be fair though, I mean, it's kind of expected because she's not on that many categories, right? Peppy Gal's Bond of Friendship and Space Traveling Warriors. But, I mean, Bond of Friendship, if we look at that, right? You got some pretty heavy hitters in the Bond of Friendship category. Obviously, the lead is not that great. The best lead is probably going to be Tech, Kale, and Caulifla because they're the best character. But until Tech Pan gets her Easy A, of course. But besides the lead, you're talking about LR, Gohan, Goten, and Trunks. The blues, right, from GDC. Literally just like a month ago, they just got dropped, right? So you got the Super Saiyan blues, you got Tien, you got Golden Week, Kale and Caulifla, you got 10th anniversary Gogeta, 10th anniversary Go Frieza, Super Saiyan 3, Super Saiyan 4 Goku, 10th anniversary Super Vegito, you got Kaioken Goku, MUI Goku, you know, Super Saiyan 4 Goku, who right now is still good because of the temporary buff, but eventually he'll fall off. But you still got them. You got Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken Goku, if you ever want to use him again, I guess, you know, you got STR Hercule. There's a lot of cool character options path to Power Goku. There's a lot of great characters in the Bond of Friendship category who could just basically work with Chilai, and Chilai will be giving support to them indiscriminately, which is so beautiful. But yeah, so I really do like Chilai. How would I build Chilai? Because I know I'm kind of rambling here. Chilai being an N-type character, already 5 dodge in her potential build. But I ain't gonna lie, I am doubling down on the dodge. I don't really feel like it's important that you give her crit. You can give this character crit. She's the only one I would say of like all 4 of the Peppy Gal characters where she would benefit from getting crit in her hidden potential build because she has none of it in her kit. But at most, I would give her like 1 to 2 buffs to her crit with a hidden potential build. Most importantly, I would prioritize the dodge, and then I would still do the additional same thing as like the other characters, maybe 3 crit just to like cover my bases. But really, she's a character whose whole kind of existence is predicated on the dodging. I would reinforce that, and I would say, you know, the additional is helpful, especially because, you know, you're doing damage, but also the massive erasing defense is nothing to slouch at, right? So that's kind of what I would say there. The crit is okay, but she's only doing supreme damage anyways, and if you look at her kit, she doesn't have that much in terms of attack to offer. Matter of fact, she doesn't have any attack to offer, right? No attack buff right there. This is for other characters besides herself. You know, no attack right there. All allies right here will gain attack buff, so that is, it could work, but that's also still not for her. I just kind of missed that for a sec there, but yeah, she's got no attack buff, so no real reason to go for a crit. So yeah, same thing with all these characters. Dodge first, additional second, and you're good. Yeah, I mean, I still like this kit though. I'm not gonna lie, I really do like it. Okay, so we talked about the builds and everything, but let's talk about when these characters are gonna drop. Obviously, going back to the main page, Super Saiyan 2 Gohan has already dropped. His Easy is already out. I already farmed his Easy A. You guys probably did so as well. But he's been out. Again, I already broke down his kit in a previous vid talking about how to build him, so check that out if you want more information with him. But yeah, he's already been out. I've tried him. He seems pretty nice, but I don't have the best team for him, so I'm not seeing the best results. I will say that. But when it comes to the other characters, they are obviously not out quite yet. So when will they be out? Well, when we look at the schedule, we see they're still available here. So all of them, every single one of these characters, will be dropping at the exact same time in 2 days from now. 2 days and 12 hours. So right now, basically to show you guys, it is like 9:30 to like almost 10 o'clock in the morning for me when I'm recording this. So basically, in 2 days from now, we'll see these characters drop. So that will be the new we'll see a new Peppy Gal banner, probably, which is going to include these 2 characters, of course, the 2 banner units, but also it will likely include these 2 as well, and we'll get their Easy A's. It'll be a fun time. So it's going to be very straightforward, I would say, nothing too crazy, but yeah, I mean, I actually have to prepare for a should you summon, because it's going to be tricky to say, because I'm not gonna lie, like Ronfon seems good, Fasha seems nice, Chilai seems really fun, Videl seems cool, but the thing about these Peppy Gal characters, about these Peppy Gal teams, is despite all the cool characters and the like options and everything and the respect they're giving, it's never been a team I feel like that's like insanely dominant. Maybe like 1 or 2 points in time was Peppy Gal's like that team, but for the most part, you don't really go into too much of a benefiting kind of position if you go for Peppy Gals like heavily. So that's the thing about the category and stuff. Also, to be fair, we do have the alteration of the Tanabata celebration set to happen probably later this month, if not sometime September. So with that coming very soon, more than likely this is a banner that everyone will want to skip regardless of who was in the banner. But still, I'll make a separate video talking about that. But yeah, I mean, they're going to be coming very soon, so stay tuned for that, of course. Going back to the main day download again. So we have the new stages for the Supreme Magnificent Battle. We have the easy here. We're still missing this, and we're still missing the stages here, which we'll probably see in a few days once the new characters drop. I assume it's going to happen at the same time to kind of incentivize everything, if you will, but pretty straightforward in that respect. I forget if there is any information on the actual fight itself for whatchamacallit, for I'm blanking, for the EZA, there we go. I forget if there's any details for the EZA battle in terms of how it will work, but overall it's pretty straightforward. Obviously we got the new images and everything. There's Gohan's, here we go. So the new Heroine Edition Peppy Gal stuff, that's going to be including the Peppy Gal weakness, so straightforward, just the two characters, you get their medals. Yeah, it's really simple, very straightforward right there. And then we got the stages and everything. We actually have the stages right here. So I thought it was going to be Videl and Ronfon. It's going to be the characters from the Tournament of Power. I can't believe stage 11 is going to be Ribrianne, but I'm expecting some gimmickiness for sure, because I know the previous Peppy Gal stages had gimmicks too, so it'll be fun to see for sure. But anyway, so we have all that. Now, the last thing I want to kind of talk about is the two new stages with this whole kind of blue zone thing, because they've been out. We got the missions and everything. Of course, it seems like they're going to be the final missions or the final stages because we already have the wallpaper here. But people have been having a fun time with them, to say the least, right? So when we look at the fourth stage, right? Gohan, Goten, and Trunks. This is, I believe, the version of the character from the 7th anniversary. So they do have a super attack in slot 1. They have a super attack in slot 2 and a super in slot 3. All three are just going crazy. They are not immune to attack down, though, important to note. So they're immune to defense down, immune to stuns, immune to seals, but attack down is something that you can hit them with, and you really do want to do so because their normals do 2 million and their supers do 7.5 million, and their melee supers, so melee counter super characters like Omega Shenron, they are enjoying this fight pretty nicely. But at the same time, this is a character who is not a slouch whatsoever, and you really do want debuffing characters who can debuff attack, because that's going to be very important. And really, there's no hiding from this character. You can do dodge characters and stuff, but you cannot hide from the supers. The supers will find you every single step of the way, and it is what it is. I mean, yeah, it's tough, but hey, we got to do what we got to do. But yeah, it is. I did beat this fight already. If you guys want to see a guide to beating the fight itself, I didn't do the mission yet, but if you want to see that, let me know in the comments below. This fight is definitely tough. You do want to bring the right team and probably prioritize bringing characters like, in Boo, who has like ghost ushers and stuff. That will be very helpful too. But like once you do the debuffing, then this character is not that bad. But it's the debuffing that has to happen if you're gonna have any chance. So that's gonna be a bit of a challenge in and of itself. With the final fight, right? So Gohan, Goten, and Trunks Part 2. This one is much more harder. I would say this one's much more harder. The thing about this character is, you see, Gohan, he doesn't seem that crazy. He looks pretty tame. 300k, 900k on the super. That's, a pea shooter compared to what we just saw from the previous stage. But look what he has to offer. He's immune to all the gimmicks, right? He's got defense plus 200% after the others, right? Goten and Trunks are not present. So once you eliminate them, Gohan will get more defense. He performs a crit guarantee when launching a super. He's disabling evasion and attacks are guaranteed to hit, so he's disabling dodge. All your dodge characters are screwed. And then he's boosting his attack by 200% with each turn passing, starting from the 4th turn up to 600%. So basically, once you hit turn 6, this man is maxed out on the attack, and that could be kind of deadly. That can be very deadly for a character who doesn't have a Ki Blast super or a melee type super, so hard to counter him. You have to bring characters who just basically counter any type of super. But, this character has some interesting things in his background, despite the fact that at the forefront, he doesn't seem that deadly. But look at the HP. He still has what was that? Is my math right? Yeah, 1.4 billion HP. So he's just a massive living character. This guy just does not die, which explains probably why he didn't die in Dragon Ball Z. But yeah, he's just insane there. The defensive buff is kind of annoying when you have to get rid of them, but the biggest thing for me that I think everyone's kind of eyeballing is like disabling evasion. Because remember, The one character who's been getting a lot of flack from a lot of people has been AGL Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, like of the main top 3, the big dogs, right? Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta has been getting a lot of flack, but the Super Saiyan Blues, right, you know, Blue Goku and stuff, and even Gohan, Goten, and Trunks, they've been cooking, they've been eating so well, and they've been praised a lot because they do a lot of damage, they have some really good stuff in their kit, but also they can dodge a lot of the hard-hitting stuff. Well, with Gohan, because he's disabling evasion, technically speaking, those characters like the Goten and Trunks side of the character for the new LR and the Blue Goku and stuff, they can't dodge, so they're reliant on tanking, which I wouldn't say is their intended forte if they have built-in dodge as well, but still, like, I'm sure it'll be fine. It's just one of those things where it's like, this is gonna be hard. And then the Goten and Trunks, right? So they are much more appropriately designed to be a hard-hitting character, right? So, you know, 1.1 million to the base attack, 3.3 million to the super, a melee type super, but raises attack for 1 turn when doing it, 700 million to the HP, so just a lot of HP to go around. Immune to all the gimmicks, you know, attack plus 100% with each turn passing, starting from turn 2 up to 300%, and defense plus 100% with each turn passing, starting from the second turn up to 300%. So this is a very tricky fight because essentially you want to make sure to control the kids right here, get rid of them, but also when you do so, you're buying time for Gohan to just exist and pass his time, and then eventually he'll get crazy amount of buffs to his attack, and then also once you get rid of these two, then you're giving Gohan more defense. But it's not the end of the world. 200% defense right here versus 300%, you know, like, I know what I'm gonna choose. But yeah, this fight is gonna be challenging for sure. I know there's some missions to it. Let me go through the missions for you guys. So with the new stages, right? So stage 4 you have to beat it, stage 5 you have to beat it. The 2 missions, right? So stage 4 you have to beat it with at least 4 Bond of Master and Disciple characters, and with stage 5 you have to beat it with a full team of Bond of Parent and Child, which there are a lot of powerful characters who fit it, but still, yeah, like, this is gonna be rough. It's gonna be annoying. That's what it is. I wouldn't even say it's rough. It's just annoying. That's what it is. It's just annoying. But anyways, it is what it is. New content, new Dragonstones. We'll take it, right? We'll get everything we can, especially getting ready for the revamped Tanabata celebration, which is going to be coming in probably a month or so from now. In any case, that's going to be where we wrap up the vid. Obviously, we talked about the content, we talked about what we can't talk about. Again, we're still missing the new EZA for like the Peppy Gal characters. We're still missing the 2 stages for the final kind of Peppy Gal stuff, but we'll go over that once they drop. But other than that, you know, we talked about the characters. Again, I like a lot of them. Videl is the only one I'm kind of iffy on. We do know they're all going to drop in about 2 days from now, so a lot of fun stuff to look forward to. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed the vid though. If you did, again, if you enjoyed the vid, again, I am kind of messing up the outro here, but if you enjoyed the vid, again, show your support, drop a like down below, subscribe to the channel, show your support, comment down below your thoughts. Let me know, what do you guys think about the new Peppy Gal characters? How excited are you for them? Thank you all so much for watching. Take care, stay blessed, and I will see you all in the next one.